Payments in an organization can be categorized into three categories. 1. Petty cash. Payments, small amounts disbursed as reimbursement after the payments is made by someone else. 2. Direct payments. Payments is requested and disbursed after appropriate approval for expenses or to personal. 3. Payments against already created liabilities against personal accounts. These payments are approved when the product and services are received, and it is only a timing of payment. This involves 3 steps. A request for reimbursement. This can be initiated into system by the requester or by another person on his behalf, as the requester does not have access to the system. Approval of the payment. Validity of the expense needs to be approved by a signed person in the system. Confirmation of the payment. This has to be done on the system by the cashier. Petty cash request for 4,300 rupees from Gajan Rajendran for stationery purchase was initiated by DS user from Colombo Petty Cash. It was approved by account EX. It was paid by AC Sup. Using the general petty cash function, petty cash request can be initiated. Only one type of petty cash type of transaction is specified. We can pick the employee number to monitor petty cash reimbursement made to employee. Purpose can be explained. If supporting document is available, it can be scanned. In the next dialog, nothing needs to be specified. DS user collection point defaults to Colombo collection, but we need to change to Colombo petty cash, as petty cash cannot reimburse from sales collection. We specify the amount. Next dialog specifies expense account to be debited. Users will not be familiar with general ledger numbers. As such, they could pick type of expense stationery purchase, and system will identify the general ledger number. We need to specify the cost center to which this expense is to be charged. Create will create the transaction, but the transaction will not be complete without approval and confirmation. In journal processing section, we have gone through approval and confirmation. Same process will be followed here as well. By logging as account EX to approve, followed logging in as an AC Sup to confirm, and transaction will be complete. Payment processing involves preparing list of proposed payments, payment request that come up for various expenses, payment due which has been captured previously from supplier invoices, debiting expense or asset, and are not processed, determining the which payment from the proposed list is going to be paid, processing payments, BNAC transfers, check payments. Let us first look at payment requests that come up. Company wants pay add advance to Avery of 12 rupees, 500 for a purchase order placed with them by check. If material management system is implemented, this should be handled within purchase order process using the function which will ensure that advance amount does not exceed the approved advance percentage for the purchase order, and when purchase costing is performed and supplier invoice is raised, this advance is automatically set off against the. If only financials functionality is used, we will process this using payment request function. The transaction type chosen is supplier advance payment. This transaction should not be used for payments for settling already captured supplier invoices, because manually the payments and invoices should be matched and is not flexible to manage funds. Choosing the voucher date and capturing references specified for this transaction, I.E advance invoice number given by supplier and its date. If required, advance invoice could be scanned and attached. Specifying supplier account and amount. Choosing the method of payment which defaults to the system generated check payment from the given collection point. Collection point is decided by the user who logged in. Bank account from which this check will be generated is determined by the combination payment method and collection point, but can be varied now or when finalizing the payments processing, as we shall see later. This needs to be approved and confirmed. A reimbursement of 15,250 needs to be made for the float at Colombo Petty Cash. Make payment request for cash check. Choose the reimbursement of petty cash transaction type. Enter the date and the narration. In this dialog under Name Use Cash, which will be printed in the check for payee. The payment mode is system-generated check for LKR 15,250, which will be drawn from Bank C loan account. It will be received by Colombo Petty Cash Collection Point as cash. It may be observed that, at the point of recording the transaction, the debit is made to cash at the designated collection point, while no corresponding credit is made to a specific bank account. At this stage, the bank account from which the payment will ultimately be made has not yet been determined. At the time of printing the check, after reviewing the available bank balances, the bank account initially indicated for the transaction, typically the commercial bank account, may be changed. The check is then printed from the bank account selected at that time. Accordingly, a temporary account, referred to as the payment transit account, is credited at the initial stage. When the check is printed, or in the case of a bank transfer when the transfer is confirmed, a subsequent transaction is generated. This transaction reverses the balance in the payment transit account and records the credit to the bank account from which the payment is ultimately made. At any given time, whether during the day, at day end, or at the close of a monthly accounting period, there may be checks or payment requests that have been imitated but not yet completed processing. The balances relating to such transactions will remain temporarily in the payment transit account. For purposes of reliability and effective control account reconciliation, this account should be supported by a detailed listing of all approved payments that have not yet been processed. Make a payment request paying salary for cash check of LKR 500,000 from commercial bank account. This should debit the other payables, director's salary control account. Due to urgency, check was manually prepared and cash withdrawn. Choose miscellaneous payments. Voucher date and narration. Name cash to appear in check. Payment mode is manual check and the check number needs to be captured. The contra entry to salary control. A payment needs to make for every LKR 78,000, Avery Bok, Peliagola branch account number 0075896213 through online transfer from commercial bank rope account. Select advance payment to suppliers. Enter the relevant transaction attributes. Choose Avery as the partner account and input the payment amount. Under Payment Methods, select Bank Transfer. Upon selecting Bank Transfer, the system will prompt for the following details: the bank from which the transfer will be made, the relevant branch, the bank account to be used for the transfer. The beneficiary purpose for the transfer must also be specified. As the default bank account for this transaction is not predefined, manually select the bank account from which the transfer will be made. Once these steps are completed, the transaction is finalized and the corresponding accounting entries will be automatically generated. All the payments request will be included in the proposed payment and payment register as pending and be viewed from the registers. Selecting supplier payments can be based on combination of due date set at the time of processing supplier invoices supplier, specific invoice. Invoice selection could be performed several times to include all invoices to be settled. After selecting, a list of selection will be produced. These invoices selected will be included in the proposed payment register and check payment register. When supplier payments are selected, the system uses the outstanding amounts to generate the corresponding payment records. The payment mode is determined based on the configuration defined in the supplier's account, where the preferred method of payment, such as check, system-generated payment, or bank transfer, is specified. This predefined payment method is automatically applied in the payment register at the time the payments are generated. Once the payment has been selected for processing, the payment method cannot be modified. However, the payment record can be deleted using a system function, as will be explained later. Upon deletion, the supplier's payment method can be amended if required, and the relevant invoices can then be selected for that specific supplier. A proposed payment list for a selected bank account can be generated by the system. This list will display the opening balance of the bank account, a detailed list of all proposed payments, the projected closing balance, assuming all payments are processed from that account, LL payments selected, whether originating from direct payment requests or supplier invoices, must be approved prior to processing. This approval is intended to ensure the availability of sufficient funds to execute the transactions, rather than to verify the authenticity of the payments themselves. This print proposed payment list function will request the company for which the list is to be printed and produce the list for each of the bank account on which payments have been initiated but not completely processed. It will exhibit bank balance, incomplete payment transactions, closing balance of all the transactions are completed. Based on this information, adjustments can be made to both the payment amounts and the bank account selection. At this stage, the following modifications are permitted. 1. Payment amount. For direct payment requests, the amount cannot be altered. If such payments are to be made, they must be settled in full. For supplier payments derived from previously processed invoices, the payment amount may be adjusted. Specifically, the amount allocated to each invoice can be reduced if necessary. 2. Bank account selection. The bank account from which the payment will be made can be changed. 3. Additionally, the check date may be set to a future date, allowing for the issuance of post-dated checks to suppliers. Pay name provided allowed in supplier profile. We would like to make amendments to these payments. The payee, Rajnathan, has one invoice to settle. We will remove this invoice. Biz Limited also has one invoice. We will change the payment from 3,000 to 1,500. Biz Ltd payment. We want the check to be in director's name, not the company's. Next is a direct payment request. We cannot change the amount, but we want to change this from the Bank of C-Loan account to the commercial bank account. For Avery, there are two payments. The first payment, we want to change it to a post-dated check. We will perform this operation in the system, removing the invoice from the proposed payments of the supplier Raj. Changing the payment amount of the invoice of Biz Limited from 3,000 the invoice value to a part payment for 1,500. Changing the name on the check from company name to Task of Director Ajit Silva. This only possible if in the supplier attribute this is permitted. In the payments it is reflected as change allowed yes. Changing the petty cash payments from Bank of C-Loan account to commercial bank account. Check date is changed to 15th May to make it a post-dated check. One could select one payment and approve, or select multiple including select all and approve. There are two different process steps for bank transfers, check payments. Three steps are involved in the processing of the BNAC transfers: listing bank transfers for a bank account, making transfers in the banking system, generating transfer transactions in the system. In this process, system will produce a list, and if the bank supports transaction upload of transfers, it will produce a text file that can be uploaded to the banking system to effect the transfers. Creating authorizing bank transfers can use this list to verify correctness or transfers. This process will vary from banking system to banking system, and whether it supports transaction upload function. It will have an option to create and authorize. List can be used to create, verify. When this function is performed, financial transactions for transfers will be effected. When transfers is performed in the banking system, some transfers may not happen due to a variety of reasons such as insufficient fund and other reason. Transfers not done in the banking system should be approval removed so that transfer entries will not be generated in the system. Processing check involves check generation and printing, reprint damaged checks, if any, confirming completion of check printing, cancellation of printed checks. This process will first create financial transaction for the checks to be printed. Once that is completed, it will assign check numbers and print the checks. Since checks are printed on pre-printed check leaves, it should be ensured that check number on the leaves match with the number recorded in the system. Therefore, when a set of checks are printed, starting number is requested to which the user is supposed to provide the right number. In addition, in the counterfoil, system recorded check number will be printed below the pre-printed check number to ensure that system generated number matches that IDs pre-printed in the check. While printing the checks due to printer issues, check leaves may be damaged and cannot be used to give it the customer. Checks that have been damaged can be reprinted giving the starting number and ending number of the checks damaged and the new number of the pre-printed check leaves that will be used to print. This process can be repeated any number of times. This function is to indicate that all checks have been printed properly and there will be no more reprinting of checks. When the check issued is unusable for any reason, due to physical damage or SATL, this function can be used to cancel the check. System will allow processing of new checks in its place.